What's the weirdest thing a complete stranger has told you? Yo, I'm gonna fart, so move. At least he was looking out for you. I was walking around with a friend and randomly ranting, mostly for amusement's sake. I said God gave some people talent, some people wealth, and some people beauty. But yet I got none of that. This random old man in front of us turns back and tells me, but you did get the intellectual knowledge to contemplate on that fact. And that is something. And then he just walked away. Left both of us speechless. He's not an old man, he's a sage. Cats can speak perfect English, they just choose to ignore us. Thank you, stranger at a bus stop. Fella said he could guess my birthday by looking in my eyes. He was a day early. But I was born at 12:01 a.m. Monsieur, it's been 12 years ago. But I think about that encounter every single day. Yo, you met a witch dog. Their life story. I was dancing on a song that was playing in the grocery store, and this 79-year-old man walked up to me and started dancing with me and ended up telling me how he was able to dance and jump like this because he lived a healthy life without smoking and drinking, but that he was going to get drunk AF at his 80th birthday. Not necessarily weird, but Sorondo, Monsieur, and wholesome. He saw you were a free spirit, so he felt able to open up. That's sweet. I was a server, and as I dropped off the check to one of my tables, I said, "Have a great rest of your day," like I always do, and the guy looks at me dead in the eye and says, "You don't give a shit about me, then leave me a 40% tip." Such a weird moment. Context. I was waiting for a bus in Anchorage. AK. I'm a very dark black guy, and people automatically assume that I'm not American. Some guy walks up to me and proceeds to ask, "Guy, where are you from?" Me, "Georgia." Guy, "I knew you were from Africa." Me, "No, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia." Guy, "Oh, sorry about that. I'm high on a lot of different drugs." He then decided to walk into traffic. Probably thought if embarrassment didn't kill him, maybe the traffic would. Get out of my house, and I'm calling the police. I hear you. Those are the worst kind of people. I know, right? It's not like I'm gonna murder you, Yet, I was maybe 10 and at the grocery store with my mother on the bread aisle. Some guy maybe 60 to 70 years old looked at us and said there hasn't been a big earthquake in a while. Later that night we had like a 7.0 or something. It was definitely weird. An old man once stopped me while I was walking down a road and complimented my big forehead. Lol. He then predicted my distant future, gave me 50 rupees and walked away. I still haven't processed the whole encounter, and it has been 14 years. Edit. So, his prediction was that I'll own 500 crore rupees. 500 million rupees. One day. And well, that one day isn't today. How did his predictions turn out? Was he right? I want to know too. It was raining real hard one day. I was with a friend when a random lady walked by and said, "Such good weather for sucking dick." I like to believe she was very drunk. That was me. I was completely sober. You might wonder why I gathered all of you here today. I was in an elevator with a bunch of random people. If delivered right, this is absolutely hilarious, but 90% of the time it'd be just really awkward. I was on my lunch break, sitting on a downtown park bench directly across the street from a church. A stranger sat down next to me, observing a dog that lifted his leg on a fire hydrant. The guy said, "That dog must be Piscatarian." Quote, "That's weird. My dog is Piscopalian." I was approached by a homeless man in the subway who told me that I had protection. He claimed he could see it around me. I dismissed him as someone who smoked a little too much crazy in his lifetime. Well, a few years later, I had a boss who was into the occult. One day she calls me into her office, tells me to come in and to close the door. She then whispers the same thing, but she wanted to know how I got it. I still get spooked thinking about it. That's wild. Lucky you, I guess. This fork is the devil's utensil because it is the amalgamation of the masculine fork and the feminine spoon and is trying to blur gender lines in society. Sir, this is a KFC. Pretty sure it's just useful is all, but whatever floats your boat, lady. You look like Marilyn Manson. No wait, Charles Manson. First, I'm a heavy white man with longish hair at the time of the comment. So I mean 2/3 was right, I guess. Dude, don't fuck with me. I used to teach dolphins how to swim. Recently a stranger in a gas station said he was going to kill himself. I was just like, how about not do that? Here, have some Funyuns instead. So he agreed and had a better day. I hope he's okay. Sounds like he really just needed someone to see him. And you were that someone. I know you don't know how he ended up, but it sounds like you saved a life that day. Cute dog. Oh, and I'm married, by the way. Felt like I walked into a conversation this woman was having in her own head. A man at a bus stop told me that he was Michael the Archangel, and he saw a dragon while doing LSD at the Antichrist's house. Why would Michael of all archangels be partying at the Antichrist's house? Something doesn't add up here. Well, you see, the dragon was how he knew that his host for the evening was the Antichrist. He also assured me that though he was on LSD, that didn't matter. I was seated next to an older chap at the cinema. I had no idea who he was, but halfway through the film he pulled out a sandwich bag and proffered it to me and asked if I'd like a fig roll. I declined. We had a bit of a chat afterwards and he was a really lovely gentleman. I hope he's doing okay wherever he is now. Reminds me of the time a random chick sat next to me at the movies. We were both alone and I guess she thought it was welcome. She wouldn't stop talking about the lead actress' tits. Asterisk, do not disturb the rat in the hole. Asterisk. I've shared this story before, but one New Year's Eve, a friend of mine and I were standing outside of a liquor store. Both of us were underage, but another friend of ours was 21, so he was buying the alcohol for the night. I was smoking a cigarette and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a man approaching. He looked homeless and I assumed he wanted a cigarette or some change. The first words out of his mouth were, "Happy New Year's, gentlemen. How you doing?" We both said we were good and commented about how nice it was. Although it was midwinter, it wasn't that cold that year in Chicago. He laughed and said, "Yeah, me too. Y'all got any plans?" We told him we were going to meet up with some friends after our buddy came out of the store. He smiled and said, "Well, y'all be safe now." Me, I got myself a joint from the Mexicans at the car shop. I'm gonna go to my spot in the alley, smoke, put out my sign when I don't want nobody around, do not disturb the rat in the hole. Then they, "No, this is the condominium and leave me alone." My friend and I both looked at each other right after he said that. We were both writers and instantly recognized how beautifully weird what he had just said was. I asked if he wanted a cigarette, but he declined, saying, "Nah, thanks." Our friend came out of the store at that point and we told him we had to go. He shook our hands and the hand of our other friend and told us again to stay safe. As we were walking away, we heard him shout to us, "Happy New Year." Quote, he never asked for a change or a cigarette and even declined my offer to have one. He just genuinely wanted to talk to us, which is rare in Chicago. He didn't want anything, but he did give me an anecdote and a phrase that has stuck with me for years. Asterisk, do not disturb the rat in the hole. Asterisk. Lol, so he's the rat in the hole. Your face looks like a fuck. Homeless Toronto lady. Homeless have the best lines. Was seeing a movie and when someone had their head slashed by a hatchet or something, the guy behind me yelled out, "Ham sandwich." I still say it to this day. That I had the perfect cheekbones to be a Russian clown. Then went into the history of sad clowns, all in broken English. While petting my face, I took it as a confusing compliment, before getting off at the next bus stop and walking to my destination. Stopped by a friend in his fiancé's place and the fiancé's sister was there for what was supposed to be an hour before going to see her parents, but a tornado siren went off. Oklahoma is fun. They were originally from Cali and she was scared and asked if I'd hold her, and I had yet to talk to her at this point. So I did. And we ended up in a rather intimate way and stayed the night. This was my first and only one-night stand. And honestly, I never knew her name. As she stood on my porch, spiritual entities told me to be here. Are they telling you to leave now? Very close to what I wanted to tell her. I was thinking, well, they didn't tell me shit. I think I actually just said, okay. A homeless guy pushed me and he said these things in this order. Excuse me. I am homeless. I am gay. I have AIDS. I'm new in town. Hello, John Mulaney. When I was in college, was wandering around a Walmart with my roommates at like midnight cause we were bored. Walking past the spray paint aisle, we looked over and made eye contact with a dude who looked like Trevor Phillips GTA 5 with more hair. Without us saying anything, he goes, "Get the gold, it gets you the highest." That she and her boyfriend had used a specific massage oil bar when having sex, including anal. They had fallen asleep intertwined and then found said massage bar and thought it was a poo as it was chocolate color. I was just seeking shelter from the rain and randomly looking at stuff in her shop. Sounds to me like casual chat. I like your penis. It's nice. Thank you, stranger at the urinals. Edit. There was a thread about guys not getting complimented often so they remember them years after. Well, I still smile thinking about this one. Being a grower and all. 10 out of 10 would like to hear it again. Edit. Yes. I'm a hetero-ish male. Wish I could say the same. At Rockfest, this hippie was telling me about how he did a bunch of acid in the mountains, overlooking a forest, and he said that one of the trees grew towards him and had a face on it and was talking to him for 2 hours and revealing to him all the secrets of life and the universe, but he was too high to remember what it said. This thread has been the most amused I've ever been in a while, and your story is my favorite. Hurry, boy. She's waiting there for you. Quote, "It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing a 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never had. Nad. Ooh. Don't let him get ya." Took me a while, but I understood. You mean you understood what this person said or meant? Don let him at ya. 1. Driving down the road, and a car pulls up beside us and the driver motions for us to roll down the window and repeatedly yells, "40 love with cheese sauce." Quote. 2. At the store with my husband. We both reach for an English cucumber at the same time, which somehow knocks 2 off and they hit me in the head. We are cracking up and holding the 2 cucumbers. Keep in mind that English cucumbers are about 14 inches long. A conservatively dressed woman, we think in her 60s, looks over and, in a smarmy tone, says, "I know what you two are laughing about. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day."